A wedding, a day universally painted in hues of joy, celebration, and eternal love, a meticulously crafted fantasy. But like any fantasy, it can curdle into a nightmare. Sometimes, the monster isn't a stranger or a cruel twist of fate. Sometimes, the monster is the one in the white dress. This isn't about minor mishaps or last-minute jitters. This is about the terrifying descent of brides who became the architects of their own destruction. Stay with us as we peel back the pristine layers of tulle and lace to reveal the chilling darkness beneath. You might just recognize someone you know. Our first tale begins with a young couple. Let's call them Susan and John, high school sweethearts. Their love story was, by all accounts, picture perfect. They had saved up a respectable $15,000 for their dream wedding. But a dream, as we know, can be a fragile thing. The first crack in the porcelain appeared when they consulted a local psychic. For most, this would be a dead end, a reason to scale back. But for Susan, it was merely a challenge, and her solution would be the first nail in her wedding's coffin. She sent out the invitations with a chilling addendum, a mandatory contribution of $1,500 per guest. The request was met with a deafening silence. Friends and family were stunned. Her maid of honor had generously pledged $5,000. The groom's family offered $3,000. But the idea of charging admission to a wedding, like a theme park, was a line too far for everyone else. RSVPs trickled in, but the checks did not. Only 8 guests agreed to pay. Just 4 days before the wedding, Susan took to Facebook, not with joy, but with venom. She announced the cancellation of the wedding, lashing out at her guests for their lack of support. But the true casualty wasn't just the event. In her furious post, she revealed that she and her had broken up due to irreparable problems. The fairy tale was over. The kingdom she had tried to build on the foundations of entitlement had crumbled, leaving her with no wedding, no groom, and a guest list of people she had alienated forever. The psychic may have predicted a grand wedding, but she failed to foresee that the greatest obstacle wasn't money, but the bride herself. Some brides have a vision, and then there are those whose vision is so terrifyingly specific, it borders on the surreal. Our next story takes us to a planned Hawaiian wedding, a 24-karat, gold-themed extravaganza that would soon become infamous for a dress code sent from the deepest circle of bridal hell. The bride, whose name has been lost to the annals of internet shame, didn't just suggest a color scheme. She issued a decree, a set of commandments based on weight. Women weighing between 100 and 160 pounds were instructed to wear a green velvet sweater, orange suede pants, and a Burberry scarf. Men under 200 pounds, a purple fuzzy jacket, a soda hat, and glow sticks. And for those who fell outside these precise weight categories, women over 160 pounds were all black, and men over 200 pounds, all camouflage. The children were to be dressed in true red, not blood orange or some bull's **T, to form the shape of a heart. This wasn't just a dress code. It was a costume party for a synchronized beach dance she was choreographing. And after the dance, naturally, this manifesto of madness was leaked online. The bride's reaction was not one of remorse, but of pure, undiluted rage. She announced a polygraph party, where she would hunt down the rat who exposed her. She had purchased a $99 lie detector from Amazon and demanded attendance, stating that anyone who didn't show would be presumed guilty. The wedding was still a year and a half away, but the damage was done. Friends and family were left to wonder if they were attending a wedding or an audition for a labaget, tyrannical circus. The bride, in her quest for the perfect visual effect, had succeeded only in making herself look perfectly monstrous. A bridesmaid's role is one of support, a pillar of strength for the bride. But what happens when that support is tested by a demand that is not only unreasonable but deeply personal? This is the story of a sister, a charitable act, and a bride who valued aesthetics over everything, including family. A woman, let's call her Emma, was set to be a bridesmaid for her sister. Emma had beautiful, long hair, hitting the small of her back. For a noble cause, she decided to cut 14 inches of it to donate to charity. She had, she thought, done the courteous thing by telling her bride-to-be sister beforehand, who responded positively. But the moment the scissors did their work, the bride's supportive facade crumbled. After Emma sent a picture of her new, shoulder-length hair to the family group chat, her sister's response was immediate and icy. "Oh my God, why would you do this right before my wedding?" The next day, the ultimatum was delivered. Get hair extensions, or you are out of the wedding. Emma was already feeling self-conscious in the chosen bridesmaid dress, a neon orange frock that she felt clashed horribly with her pale skin and red hair. The thought of paying for extensions to appease her sister's sudden change of heart was the final straw. She refused. This wasn't just a simple disagreement. In another, even more dramatic case, a bridesmaid, who was kicked out for a similar reason, took the bride to small claims court to be reimbursed for the $700 she had already spent on dresses and alterations. The bride's obsession with a uniform look, a perfect picture, had cost her a bridesmaid, created a family rift, and in some cases, even a legal battle. It's a terrifying reminder that for some brides, the people standing next to them are not cherished friends, but props in their personal production. Some bridal meltdowns are a slow burn, a gradual descent into madness, and some happen in a horrifying flash, a single act so shocking it implodes the entire day in an instant. Prepare yourself, for this is the tale of Dana, a bride who committed the ultimate betrayal just moments before she was to say "I do." The day was already fraught with tension. Dana had been having outbursts all morning, making wedding staff and even her own bridesmaids cry. Her maid of honor was running on fumes, trying to manage the bride's increasingly erratic behavior. The wedding was scheduled to begin in 30 minutes. Just 5 minutes before the ceremony was to start, the maid of honor found a bridesmaid sitting alone in the chapel and delivered the stunning news. The wedding was canceled. The reason was unthinkable. The groom, Josh, had walked into a room to find his bride, Dana, in a compromising position with his own uncle. The maid of honor's instructions were simple and chilling. Run. The bridal party fled as the situation behind them detonated. Josh, rightfully devastated, called off the wedding on the spot. Dana's own father, in front of everyone, told her she would be paying for the entire canceled wedding on her own. But the abyss of Dana's audacity had not yet reached its bottom. A few days later, she began calling her bridesmaids, not to apologize, not to explain, but to demand that they help her pay the cancellation fees for the wedding she had destroyed. She had not only shattered her own wedding day, but she had also revealed a void where her shame and decency should have been. It was a self-destruction so complete, so spectacular, that it left everyone in its wake utterly speechless. Our final story is a complex tapestry of family dysfunction, where the bride's own anxieties are fanned into a raging inferno by the one person who should be her new ally, the mother-in-law. Sometimes, the bridezilla is not born, but made. In one harrowing account, a bride with cripplingly low self-esteem after the loss of her parents was pressured into a wedding photo shoot she explicitly did not want. Her mother-in-law insisted, and her own husband remained silent, leading to a day filled with tears and an atmosphere so thick with resentment you could cut it with a wedding knife. In another instance, a groom's mother launched into a racist tirade against the bride just moments before the ceremony, accusing her of stealing her son. The situation escalated until the groom, in a moment of sheer desperation and loyalty to his bride, was forced to physically eject his own mother from the wedding. But perhaps the most chilling example is the one where the mother-in-law's interference was a quiet, insidious campaign of sabotage. One wedding planner recalls a groom's mother calling her to secretly change the date of the wedding without the couple's knowledge. It was a move so audacious, so manipulative, it exposed a deep-seated desire to control and, ultimately, to ruin the day. When a bride is already on the edge, a momzilla can be the final push into the abyss. The wedding day becomes a battleground, the vows are lost in the crossfire, and the I do becomes a declaration of war. The bride, in her fight against the dragon at the gates, often ends up burning her own castle to the ground. 5 brides, 5 weddings poised on the brink of perfection, and 5 descents into chaos, orchestrated by the very person at the center of it all. They sought control, perfection, and a fairy tale ending, but in their desperate grasp, they crushed the very thing they sought to celebrate. So the next time you're at a wedding, and you see the flicker of something dark in the bride's eyes, remember these stories. Remember that the line between a dream day and a nightmare is perilously thin. And sometimes, the person holding the knife is the one who's about to cut the cake. What's the most shocking bridezilla story you've ever heard? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found yourself captivated by these cautionary tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Bridezilla Nightmares.